What's up, guys? This is James Calendar here with HRVO Workplace Guide. And one of the things that we've been really brainstorming around from seeing different interactions on social media, LinkedIn, and other places is we see a lot of comments and posts about uh, applicant tracking systems and they're kicking us out. And I'm not getting past the initial system review or the AI review and things of that nature. While there may be instances of those situations happening, I can personally say in 15 years of recruiting and talent acquisition, I've never had a system that will actually do the recruiting for me. And I've worked in some large systems between Workday and Success Factors and Taleo and the other systems that have been in place over the past. We currently use ADP for applicant tracking and job posting and recruiting and managing posts and all of that. ADP is a pretty prominent system, and I still don't have a a solution for AI just to do the recruiting for me. And I thought with everything that's going on and the challenges that we face as job seekers looking for the next opportunity, let's just peel the curtain back. Let's look at an applicant tracking system. I've never seen anyone do this, but I think the opportunity there is very valuable for us to really understand what's going on. So we're going to jump in today. We're going to actually look at ADP. We're going to look at what we see as recruiters, as talent partners, and what the posts look like on our side, and then also what the candidacy level looks like. So how we review applications, resumes, and the details of that nature. So I'm going to actually, a lot of this will be blurred out, so bear with me. I'm not going to have any personal information or names or identifying information in there. But one thing that you will see is that these are all of my open requisitions. So if I scroll through here, you can see all the different things that we're trying to fill as an organization. The roles that we have, how long they've been open, the details on those roles, how many open applications we have, how many are new. So you can see a lot of the details around those requisitions. So I'm going to go into one requisition that we opened probably about 6 weeks ago. We actually have that on hold now because we got a considerable amount of traffic for that position. So that is a senior level finance role with the organization, and I'm going to jump in. So what I want you to see, there are currently 66 open applications. So I have personally reviewed all of them, but 66 applications in the system. That's 410 applications. You can see right here in the top, 410 applications for this position. Now, this is open throughout the country. This is a position that we're trying to relocate. So we're recruiting nationwide, but that's something that's 400 people. So on our side, we can see a lot of different details, very basic on the initial review piece, but you can see the profile relevance. I would tell you, I put no credibility into that. I have had people that apply for a job, and they will have very low or even not available profile relevance. And then I will go into the actual application, and their experience and exposure is much higher than what the profile relevance shows. But then the other side, I'll have someone that has a high profile reference or relevance, and then their experience has nothing to do with what I'm looking for. So I don't put a lot of credibility in that. So that is an AI element of the applicant tracking system. I don't know if the jobs you're applying for, if your recruiters are using that to really filter things, and if they are, trust me, you don't want to work there. That's not where you want to be because they're not even bringing a human element into that. 410 applications takes a long time to review, so I'm not going to discredit that that does require work, and that's one requisition. You saw at the original screen that we have 10 to 15 different open requisitions. So if I'm one recruiter, and it's not uncommon for one recruiter to have anywhere between 10 and 20 requisitions, depending on the level in the organization that those requisitions are, especially mid to senior level management. That takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to vet those applications, but it's worth it. It's worth it as a TA partner if you're doing all the due diligence on that side. So we're going to jump into one of these applications, right? And we might open a couple, but as we open the first application, you're going to see now I'm coming to personal information here at the top. We've got that grayed out for confidentiality reasons, but it's also going to show me more details. So it's going to show me the resume. I personally only look at resume. So, and I set my system up for applications so that when you apply for the job, you can put your work history in there. I don't require it, but you do need to put a resume. The resume is not required, I guess, technically, but you need to have one of those. If you do not have a resume and you do not have work history, I'm not going to consider your application. Simply being, you're not that worried about the job or that serious about the job to not give me at least one of those two things. And I get that often. I get that not a lot of times from high level positions, but a lot of times my entry level positions, they won't put any job history and no resume. The resume doesn't have to be super fancy, but it does need to be in there. I will tell you, I can tell immediately looking at this resume is 100% AI. There's certain things that jump out that tells me that this individual took this resume, dropped it into ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot or something like that, and it spit out this, and they turn around and submitted this as their resume. Don't do that. There's nothing wrong with using AI to get your resume into the system, to get it into, the words and the bullets that you want, but put your own twist on that. Go format that to be you and to be the person that you are and to reflect your personality and your experience and knowledge and all of that. Don't just rely on AI. I know from experience that AI is always throwing these dividers in here. So the lines that you see, the horizontal lines you see on the resume, you're always getting that. AI is huge on bullets. So you're going to have bullets. You're going to have 3 to 5 bullets and then a new topic, 3 to 5 bullets and a new topic. So that's where this AI is jumping out on the page. The headers are always in all caps, and then so there's certain things that are going to stand out. Recruiters know if you're just using AI, and I would tell you if you're serious about a job and you're only using AI, you need to do more than just AI. So be sure you're using the right tools and not trying to trick people. Maybe not trick, but not being serious about the role. On the right here, there's some disqualifying questions that are going to be in here. Or they may not be disqualifying, but they are questions that I take very heavily. So for the first question you see, it does ask the salary range, your desired salary range, and we post a salary. I believe that pay transparency is important regardless what state or what state laws there are, and I want candidates to know that my range is here, and because that eliminates a lot of wasting time for people. So we have that desired salary piece to make sure that it's fitting within the range for the role. And then we have a questionnaires that we can add to the application process so that we can understand, is this person moving forward from here? This role specifically does not allow for sponsorship for immigration status. So we are not able to hire anyone that's not authorized to work in the United States. So again, we see in HR, we see sometimes people ask questions the wrong way. Your applicant tracking systems typically ask the same question the same way, or these questions the same way when they're system designed. So we're asking, are you legally authorized to work in the United States? And we now or in the future require immigration sponsorship for employment via visa status. And so we do actually have that first question set up as a disqualifying question. So if you tell us initially, no, I'm not legally authorized to work in the United States, this application is going to automatically get rejected. Now, it still goes into the application file, but it does not go into the new application file. And when I go or into the new application bin, and as a TA partner, when I go to review applications, I'm looking at the new applications because if you told me that you're not legally authorized to work in the United States, I do not offer sponsorship for this role, so I'm not able to move forward with you anyway. Now, with that said, we do sometimes get people that check the wrong box. And I always tell candidates and I tell my HR partners and my business leaders, my interview process starts from the very first interaction I have with a potential customer. So it's important to make sure that you're paying attention. You're paying attention to details and you're doing the things you need to do. So when we scroll through here, we can look at the different components of the resume, the different things that they've done, the different experiences, where they've worked, the time that they've spent there. And it's important that we're able to catch up and see those things. I I can't say don't do it, or I wouldn't say don't do it, but I would tell you if I'm having to scroll through 3 or 4 pages for a resume, that's too much. You should be condensing your resume to at most 2 pages. There may be instances where 3 plus pages is necessary. I challenge you to be creative, to find a way to condense that, capture all of your experience and accomplishments all in just 2 pages. You can do different formatting. You can change the eye level. You can do a lot of different columns, things like that, to move those things around. Again, this is an AI resume, so I quickly recognize that. That's why this is multiple pages because AI has created this resume. We're going to jump back. We're going to go back and look at another application. Maybe we grab one that is not AI. AI created. So here's one, here's another one, and again, this is a much more visually appealing. When I'm looking at resumes, I'll spend 6 to 10 seconds looking at the type of work you've done and the job title you held. So I'm looking at the industry and then the job title, really. So from there, if those are the things that are matching on the surface, then I start digging into your accomplishments at those areas. So I need you to hit those first key things first, and then we move into the other areas. And again, same questions, so there's consistency there, and then you get the resume. Now, this is page 1 of 6. Again, find a way to condense this. It's incredible that you have these accomplishments. I like the top 3 to 5 accomplishments at that organization, and then let's go into more detail in the interview, and let's get those out in the interview. A lot of these things, references, I'm not calling your references at this point. If I get to the point of an offer or a potential offer, that's when I'll start considering to call references. Let's go back and look at a Let's go back and look at a requisition that is not a senior level role in the organization. So let's go grab an entry level role. So, or let's say, okay, let's do this. This is more of a skilled position within our organization. So I've got 124 applications in this position. This is a more skilled role in our organization that does require some level of technical competence and experience in it. So it's not an entry level position for us. So again, I'm looking at key things for these positions, and you can see that some have already been reviewed, but I'm coming in here and I'm looking to see, does this individual have the experience that I'm looking for? Again, this is more than likely an AI resume, but I'm not that worried about it for this level because I just need to know what you've done. And I now know that you're at least putting forth the effort to make it make sense for me to go forward with more communication or more conversation with you. And then here's where I'm looking at what experience you've had and how long. A lot of times I'll give heavy consideration to tenure in roles. So if you're just a month here and a month there and 3 months here, that's a concern for me. If you're spending a couple years, a few years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, I'm not that worried about that. And so I don't think you need to be 30 years on a job to be able to change jobs. But I do need to see that you have some consistency. And what we look at in the thought process there for a TA partner is that if you're bouncing around jobs every month or so and you just keep bouncing around, there's something going on. And I would tell candidates to have a serious moment of self-reflection in those situations. Now, I fully understand that sometimes you get into different situations and the organization is just bad. You were lied to. There are inaccuracies. There are just misrepresentations of things. Business starts to go south. A lot of different things happen, and I fully understand that, and I can appreciate those challenges. But if that is happening over and over and over, you've probably consistently made some bad decisions on places that you go. Or you are a complicated employee, you're difficult to work with, you're not flexible, you don't get along with management, you don't get along with peers. There's a lot of other things, or you're not trainable. There's a lot of other things that go into that sometimes. So those are conversations that, we will pick up on. And those and I can go through and see several instances of, 3 months here, 5 months there, 2 months there. I'm not going to disqualify you for it, but I am going to hone in on those experiences when we have an interview, when we have a phone screen. I'm going to ask, like, why did you leave? And a lot of times, I would say 9 out of 10 times, I get a conversation along the lines of, oh, well, my manager just didn't like me, or my manager told me I could do this, and then I did it, and then the manager didn't, support it, and they fired me, or just random stories of that nature that it's usually some type of conflict. And candidates always push it off as someone else's fault, someone else's. Take responsibility. If that was you, say, hey, I went in there, I thought I could do this, I was told to do that. I made a mistake. I did it wrong. It wasn't the right way. Be honest, take accountability. Accountability and integrity go so far in an interview and much further than what you would think it would go. So there you have it. I hope that you find some value from this tracking system approach, what we're seeing behind the scenes, and how we initially start. Now, there's so much more to this, right? There's so many other pieces and intangibles and situations and criteria and bullet points on resumes that we would have different interactions with and different conversations. We move forward to phone screens and we do in-person interviews and we do final interviews, offer letters, all those things. And we're going to talk about that in future episodes of what to be prepared for different types of roles and phone screens and different interviews and things of that nature. But stay with us here on HRBO Workplace Guide podcast as we go through different scenarios, different situations, and hopefully bring some clarity around some things that you struggle with as a job search or as an employee and can get you to the next level that you want to be in the organization. Until next time, stay safe out there. Be sure to follow our YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages as we bring you amazing insights around the workplace.